Hey folks, welcome back for another lesson. Today's lesson is going to be a writing lesson, and we're going to talk specifically about nouns. But before I start, just thanks again to those of you who are sending me photos of your work. It's great to see. You guys are doing great stuff. Okay, so we'll talk about nouns. Remember that a noun is a person, a place, or a thing. So like mom is a noun because that's a person. Home is a noun because that's a place. And chair is a noun because that's a thing. So any word that describes a person, place, or thing is a noun. Just remember when we're talking about nouns, we're not talking about your mom. Your mom's not a noun. The word mom is a noun. The word chair is a noun. The word home is a noun. But a chair isn't a noun. Just the word is a noun. Nouns are kinds of words. So you're going to do a writing assignment today with nouns. And before we start though, we should talk about the right nouns to use when you're writing and the wrong nouns to use when you're writing. Because there's two different kinds of nouns when you're thinking about it as a writer. There's non-specific nouns and specific nouns. A specific noun tells you exactly what you're talking about, but a non-specific noun just sort of tells you kind of what you're talking about. For example, family. If I wrote, I'm with my family, you can't really imagine what my family is like. If you read that sentence, I'm with my family, you don't really know how many people I'm talking about. You don't know how big my family is. You don't know how many boys or girls or men and women there are in my family. You don't know any of that information. So as a writer, instead of saying family, it's better to say something like, I'm with my two brothers and my sister. Because then your reader can imagine exactly what you're talking about. Another non-specific noun would be store. If you wrote, I drove to the store, your reader can't really imagine what you're talking about. Is this a grocery store? Is this a toy store? Is this a game store? Is this a home improvement store? We don't know what you're talking about because all you said was store. It's much better to say, I drove to the grocery store, or even better, I drove to the Smith's grocery store, because then you're saying exactly which store you're talking about and your reader can really imagine it. Another example would be drink. Like, I got a drink. I was thirsty, so I got a drink. Again, your reader doesn't know what you're talking about. Is this a hot drink? Is it a cold drink? Is it a bubbly drink? We don't know, because you didn't say. Or if you wrote, I had dinner. Again, I had dinner, not very specific. It would be better to say, I had pizza. Or I had pepperoni pizza. Or I had spaghetti with meat sauce. Or I had 3 chicken tacos with refried beans. You want to say exactly, specifically what you're talking about. If you're going to write, I had dessert, it was tasty. Again, your reader's stuck. They're like, what was tasty? Would I like this too? They want to know. Your reader wants to know the details. So you got to say the details. I had chocolate ice cream. I had apple pie. I had chocolate pudding. You want to say exactly what you're talking about. If you say, we drove away in my car, you want to say exactly which car you're talking about. Is this a van? Is this a Toyota? Yeah. What are we talking about here? You got to say exactly what you mean. So, what you're going to do today is I'm going to put a story up on the screen, and I'm going to read the story to you, but I'm going to do a bad job with this story. I'm only going to fill this story with non-specific nouns. I'll give you a chance to find those nouns, but I'm also, after the story, I'll tell you which nouns I'm talking about. But I'm going to fill my story with non-specific nouns, and what I want you to do is I want you to change my story, to take my story and write it so that it's a better story. Write it with those specific nouns in there. In my story, I'm going to say my family, which is a non-specific noun. You don't have to try to imagine what my family is, though. You're going to pretend that you're writing about your family. I'm going to use the noun store. You're not pretending to be me in this story. You're pretending to be you. So you're going to write this story about yourself. But instead of using all these non-specific nouns that I'm going to use, you're going to use nice, specific nouns that say exactly what you're talking about so that your reader can imagine it. And please feel free, you don't just have to take exactly what I wrote and add in the specific nouns. You can really change it, so you can add in more sentences, you can make the story longer, you can write about more stuff. Like in my story, I'm going to say that we went and got dessert, but you can say a lot more than that. You can add in what you did after dessert. I say we went and got dessert and then we went home, but you can say, you can add in more. You can go to more places, and just wherever you go, whatever you do, however you change my story, make sure you're using nice, specific nouns. Okay, so here is the story that I want you to change and fill with more specific nouns. All right. My family went to the store. Then we went to get a drink. After that, we had dinner. And then we ate dessert. Last, we hopped in the car and went home. So there's my story. And you can see I used a lot of non-specific nouns. I said my family, but I didn't tell you who was in it. I said we went to the store, but I didn't tell you what store. I said then we went to get a drink. Well, first of all, we probably went to get drinks because I went with my whole family, and I didn't tell you who got what to drink. Then I said we had dinner, but I didn't tell you what we had or where we went. Then I said we got dessert, but I didn't tell you what dessert was. And then I said we hopped in our car, but I didn't tell you anything about our car. So those were all my non-specific nouns: family, store, drink, dinner, dessert, and car. And now what you have to do is write that story again, but take all those non-specific nouns like family and tell us who that family is. Tell us what store they went to. Tell us what drinks they got and what they had for dinner and what they had for dessert. And tell us what kind of car they have. And if you want to make the story longer and add in more stuff, please do. All right, so that's all for today. If you want to do more lessons that I've created, the best thing you could do is click on my channel, which is below this video. There's a little round picture of me. It says Andy Young next to it. If you click on that round picture, it'll take you to my channel, and that will list all the other videos. I've got some more writing videos. I've got some math activities that you can do, and I'm going to keep posting every weekday, except for spring break, which for me is 2 weeks from now. I won't post anything during spring break. But if we're still off from school after spring break, I'm going to keep posting, and you can keep visiting my channel and doing more activities. Have a great day.